What should guys be looking for when they're looking at women on dating apps? Let's talk about it. I've been on dating apps on and off for the last 2 years or so. I've used several of them, but really no matter which one you're talking about, whether Tinder, Bumble, OkCupid, Plenty of Fish, Match, Hinge, whatever, what I'm about to get into is pretty much all going to be the same no matter what. The first step, of course, is do you find them physically attractive? But there's a lot more to it than that. But once you've established that, yes, I think this woman is physically attractive, based on her first picture at least, then you get into the following. Next, I want you to look at what she is looking for out of a relationship. It could say short-term fun. It could say long-term relationship. It could say long-term open to short, or the other way around. There's a few variations of that on different apps, but it's basically always going to be one of those things. So what you don't want to do is match with somebody whose expectation of what they're looking for is not aligned with yours. So if you're just looking for a hookup or short-term fun, don't be swiping right on women who say they want a long-term relationship. That's just going to end in disappointment for both of you. The next thing you've got to do is determine how far away they are from you. Now, Tinder will give you the mileage of how far away they are and maybe the city, but apps like Bumble will also tell you where they live, but also where they are now. Apps like Hinge are actually, honestly, a little frustrating because it usually just gives you the name of the neighborhood where they live. I live outside of Austin, Texas, but I'm also kind of close to San Antonio and San Marcos and New Braunfels. And sometimes I have to Google to see where a particular neighborhood is because I've never heard of it before. I wish they would get rid of that feature. And even if you have your mileage diameter radius set to, let's say, 50 miles or 25 miles or whatever, I find that almost all of the apps are inaccurate in gauging how far away somebody's city is. So it might say they're 37 miles from you, and it'll give me the name of the town. And when I Google that, it's actually like 45 or 50 miles away, which is a little bit far for me. Then I want you to look at all the rest of their profile pictures. I often find that people usually put their best picture first, no big surprise there. But sometimes as you scroll through, you begin to realize that maybe that best picture isn't super recent. Maybe it's heavily photoshopped or filtered or something like that. And you can get a much better gauge of who they are and what they look like by looking at all of their photos. Also, do they have the same outfit on in every photo? Because that tells you that they were all done at the exact same time most of the time. And do they also have close-up shots, full body shots, things of that nature, so you can really get a feel for who they are from head to toe. It's important to gauge that. I once went out with a woman, and I'm not trying to fat shame anybody here, but she was clearly probably 40 or 50 pounds heavier in person than her pictures made her look to be. And it wasn't so much that I have an issue with somebody that's not perfectly fit, because I'm not perfectly fit, but it felt disingenuous, like she was trying to mislead me, and I didn't like that. The other huge red flag for me, aside from them wearing the same outfit in almost every photo and the same type of pose in almost every photo, is do they have sunglasses on in the majority of their pictures, or is almost every photo a group shot? Because guess what? I don't know this woman yet, and I have no idea who she is if every photo is a group shot. So ideally, only swipe right on women who have a variety of shots, most of them without sunglasses on, and most of them not group shots. Then look at the settings that these photos are in and what she's wearing. Right now, at the time of this recording, it's early April for me. So I've seen some pictures on dating apps somewhat recently where the women are dressed in like wintertime clothes or Santa outfits and things like that. And I live in Central Texas. It hasn't been cold here in quite a while. And certainly we're not that close to Christmas time. So what that tells me is that they probably haven't been on the app recently to update their photos. Then, of course, you want to look at things like smoking, drinking, marijuana, things of that nature, because most of the apps allow you to put your preferences on those things, and you want to make sure that your views are aligned with theirs, or that you are at least open-minded to what their views are. Don't be swiping right on people whose views are diametrically opposed to yours in those kinds of areas. But it's also a red flag if they have almost no information other than maybe the mileage of how far away they are. On Tinder, that might mean that they're looking for a hookup, in which case they figure they don't really need anything other than some sexy photos. If that's not what you're looking for, go ahead and swipe left. Ultimately, no matter what, dating apps, especially for guys, are a numbers game. Let's be honest here. Women get way more guys swiping right on them and messaging them than guys do women. And that's just the reality of the situation. So if you're a guy, you don't want to be so picky that you rarely ever swipe right, because then you're almost never going to match with somebody. But you do want to pay attention to all the criteria that I've outlined in this video to make sure that when you are swiping right, you're swiping right on people who genuinely are compatible with you, because then they are much more likely to swipe right on you. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.